Everyone has a story to tell. Welcome to DingoTalk, where we explore the experiences that make us who we are. Here's your host, Carlo Guadagnino.
Coach DeMarco, I want to congratulate you on your 33rd and final season at Geneva. You've been a great friend and a mentor for me. And fitting enough, tonight, on a beautiful day up here in the team up north, we get a chance to scrimmage and get together one last time. I really appreciate everything you've done for me, and I'm going to miss you, man. You're a mentor of men, and college is very lucky to have you as long as they have. God bless you, buddy, and take care of yourself.
Just want to say congratulations, Coach DeMarco. Geno, what a guy in our league, doing a great job of leading always from the front. One thing I'll say I always appreciated about Geno is how he always was talking about how we're doing things to better football as a whole. He never inserted Geneva into that sentence. He always talked about the whole. He always looked at the pack as a whole league and how the whole league could get better, and really appreciate his leadership of the group. Definitely will miss him. Have exchanged a lot of amazing text messages, and remarks, throughout the last few years. I wish him nothing but the best of luck this last year. Go get him, Coach.
All right, Coach DeMarco, just wanted to wish you the best this season. It's been an unbelievable honor sharing the field against you as a competitor for 3 years. Really looking forward to one final time to do battle. I've learned a ton from you in these last few years. Appreciate your insight. Wish you all the best in the new role. My favorite thing from my conversations with Coach DeMarco, he's unapologetically himself. He's not afraid to be honest. He'll tell it how it is. That's harder and harder to come by nowadays. So as a truth teller, I really appreciate every time I get the chance to speak with him. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, I think I have the perfect story to show how the type of man. Obviously, Geno is a terrific coach. He's had a lot of success on the field and won a lot of football games. In terms of the type of man he is, it was 2012. We lost a player. Tim McNerney was taken from us, was killed during our season, and Geno and I were cordial to each other, but we weren't as close of friends as we are now. We competed against each other, shook each other's hands after games. Like I said, we weren't as close as we are now, and I remember the outreach that we had from so many people. But Geno reached out to us at W&J, knowing we were going through a tough time, and he set up our counseling. He set up things for our players. I mean, it was unbelievable. He didn't have to do that. He said he knew our kids were in a bad spot. He set up our counseling for us, brought people in to talk to our kids, get them through this tough time. Prayed with us after our game against them, which was a game that set us up to win the conference championship that year. That's one thing. I remember in 2017 also, we were undefeated and we beat them to go 9-0, and he came in our huddle after the game and wished us and wished our players good luck in the playoffs. I mean, we hadn't won anything yet. We needed to win one more game, but he wished us good luck. So that's just the type of man that he is, and obviously he's going to be missed. There's not many people like him anymore in coaching that have been at the same spot for so many years and made such a legacy for himself, and that will carry on through now his grandchildren, his kids, and we'll miss him a lot. He's a great person and a great friend of mine.
It's Joe Derko with the PAC. Just a quick note of honor and appreciation for Geno DeMarco as he prepares for his 33rd and final season as head football coach at Geneva, the longest tenured active Division III coach in America. It's amazing to think about that. I came to Westminster in 1995 as a young SID. He had just begun his coaching career, so our paths have crossed for 30 years basically. And what has always stood out for me with Geno is the way that he lives his faith, his Christian faith, every day. He's very serious about that. He comes from a family of pastors, and obviously Geno wants to win football games as much as anybody else does, but he's never let that get in the way of what he felt was truly most important in life, which is sharing the gospel and reaching out with the love of Christ to those who are struggling. And that was the one thing during our media day at St. Vincent on August 6th that many of the opposing coaches in the PAC noted. Several of them noting times when they were struggling or their programs were struggling, when Geno was the first to reach out to them to offer comfort and support and just putting their humanity ahead of their coaching rivalry. So that's what I'll always think about with Geno is the fact that he lived his faith every day, and while at the same time trying to win as many football games as possible. So everyone in the PAC is honored to be a part of this, of celebrating his final season as an active head football coach for the Golden Tornadoes, and certainly wish him every possible success as he moves on to this new stage in life.
No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither things present nor things future, can separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus our Lord. That's Romans chapter 8, verses 37 to 39. And in that passage, we see that we are more than conquerors. Well, anyone who's followed Geneva football and Geno DeMarco knows that that has been his theme, more than conquerors. How Geno DeMarco has used the game of football to teach men that they are more than conquerors in life, specifically through a relationship with Jesus Christ. And that is why I admire Geno so much. And Geno, congratulations on just using the game of football to transform lives and show people what it looks like to have a relationship with Christ. Geno, job well done.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is Dingo Talk, and this is the first season of the 2025 D3 football season. My guest this week is a former guest 2 years ago. He joined us, and he's back. Coach Geno DeMarco, the head football coach at Geneva College. Coach, thank you for joining us again.
Carlo, thank you for inviting me again.
Absolutely. Hey, this time we were pretty quick back and forth with our messages too. I didn't.
Yeah. That just shows my prowess with technology.
So, Coach, we're going to do this a little different. Obviously, we got a preview of your story 2 years ago. You made a big announcement here at the beginning of July that after 33 years, this is the last year you'll be at the helm of Geneva. So, my first question is, what emotions are going through your head right now as we're getting closer to September 6th?
Well, we're getting close to when our players report. So Carlo, I had kind of the same emotion that I've had every year before camp. You know, and it's excitement. It's one of like, yeah, if you can understand what that is. But it's that kind of thing. Excitement, enthusiasm, new season, you know. And then I got this thing sitting on my shoulder that's like in my ear that tells me this is the last time. So it's a little different, yeah.
Now, 1993 to today, what were the goals in 93, and how do you feel now, 33 years later, that those goals have been achieved or worked towards?
Well, in 93, I mean, we were pretty, it was a lot different. We were NAIA. The goal was to have a biblically based, faith-based, Christian-based football program. Geneva College is a Christian school, and to be nationally recognized. But, and at that time, we were struggling. And thank God we were able to have the resources at that time under Dr. White, and things came together. We went the transfer route in the beginning to build the program. And by 1998, for 3 weeks in the month of September, we were number one in the country. And I read that we were number one in the country for 3 weeks in that September of 98. And the fourth week, we were not, because we got beat. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think maybe I should have just not read all the press clippings. But I mean, it was like just to try to be nationally recognized Christian football program. That's what we set out to do. And I know that it wasn't Division I, but back in the day, that was where we were hanging our hat, was the NAI.
Right. And so out of those 33 seasons, what are you most proud of leading the Golden Tornadoes?
Well, it's really hard to just pinpoint one thing. I just think the one common denominator, even since the beginning, was we have prepared our guys for after football. That was the goal. The goal was to always prepare them for what they were going to do in life and to prepare them to become men and hopefully men of God. That is something that we have done, at times we've done it very well, and at other times I fell short, so it's more than football.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Coach, we talk about, as I was putting these questions together, you've coached nearly 200 players who have now gone on to become coaches. How do you feel about that coaching tree that has come out of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania?
Well, that was something that we really, really invested in the beginning. And at that time, the cost of going to a state school and the cost of being able to give a football scholarship at Geneva, we really wanted to recruit teachers who were coaches. We felt that was the best way to start a pipeline for recruitment. We don't have 200 right now that are active, but those 200 guys at one time or another coached high school, coached college. We got one guy coaching, one of the best players on the planet out in Kansas City, David Girardi. Yeah, coaching the guy. He's a quarterback coach there.
Oh.
But the whole idea was like, I just felt like it was a great way to start a network of recruiting. And I copied it from, at that time, the best football program in the nation. In 1993, the best football program in the nation. It just happened to be our rival, which is 18 miles up the road.
Now, Coach, it's interesting you bring them up, and I don't want to open a door. I've already talked to their coach as well about this. How do you feel that you won't see them this year?
It's just not right. It's not right. We're gonna scrimmage, but it's not right in the world. It really isn't. It's just like Pitt not playing West Virginia.
Right.
It's just it should happen. I mean, they're the closest school in proximity, and for whatever reason, the way the schedule rolled out, I'm going out to Widener, playing on conference game. Then we got a home game against Shenandoah from Virginia. And I got a school 18 miles right up the road that is supposedly our rival. And Scott and I have talked about it. We're just shaking our head.
Well, I can tell you, you're not the only coaches. We put out the coaches roundtables, which is another part. I made it a point at this junction to bring it up. Most of you might not know how that show came about. Coach DeMarco, 2 years ago, after his show with us, he sent me an email. He said, "This is what I loved this. I loved being a part of the show. I want to do more. What do you think of this idea?" I don't know if you even remember this, Coach. You shot me a very quick, "Hey, what if we got coaches together and had them talk to people while talking to each other?" That would be so it took me 2 years, but we got it. We got it.
So you're doing that. Yeah, I've taught marketing for 33 years here. So yeah, I did it just come on my, I feel like I'm an idea guy. That's all. I just don't.
Coach
I'm an idea guy. I just got to get somebody to pay for all these ideas. That's the thing.
Well, Coach Sirianni, that was his was a little bit more in depth, but he said it's a crime. It's a crime that the two schools that are 18 miles apart are not playing each other this year. It's a crime that Grove City and Teal aren't playing each other this year. There's some continuity there. Talking about, and you talked about it a little bit at the beginning here about your faith and about Geneva being a Christian college. Your coaching legacy is deeply rooted in your faith. How has your relationship with Christ shaped your approach to coaching?
I think it's kept my feet grounded. I think this football thing is for some of us, for most of us as coaches, it can become an addicting type thing. It really can. I mean, it's just you get consumed with it, and I felt like times during my career that has happened. And I just know that there has to be something else greater than winning a conference championship, because when we were winning, it was okay. Can you do it again? And then you hear this a lot from guys that are in the Super Bowl and they win a Super Bowl and they're like, after the game, and it's incredible to win a Super Bowl, but the first question they ask them is, can you repeat?
Right.
But my relationship with Christ has been solidified because of my upbringing, and I need that in my life. I need to have Christ in my life. I need a place like Geneva to keep me, if you will, with some boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid to say that. I'm very authentic with our players. When they come in and they've done some things and made some bad decisions, they have and sometimes I can identify with them. But it's, to me, it's the greatest blend. Like I'm gonna miss that.
Mm-hmm. Now,
I really am.
Geneva has also always emphasized character and Christian maturity, mature Christian men. How did you instill that in your program year after year? Because again, like we know, the student changes. You might have your freshmen to seniors. They might be a little bit, they're close in years, but they may be drastically different in how a message comes across or is received. So how did you keep that message?
I think about 25 years ago, I mean, we always would have a theme for the year.
Mm-hmm.
We would have some sort of theme, and it was a biblical theme, but somehow I would be able to use it in a football sense as well. Now, theologians look at that and they cringe every time I say that, because it's not really the way you're supposed to use the Bible. But we've been doing it really with, a theme. Our leadership program is called More Than Conquers Leadership Program from Romans 8:37, which we have used for the program since 1993. And we'll come up with a theme every year. So for this year, the idea is on how to finish, how to run through the finish line, and there's a bunch of verses Paul uses on how to run the race and to finish. Right. So what a great message to teach young people, whether they're freshmen who had just finished high school and now are starting something, or seniors that are going out and about to finish. The other thing is you can use it. We do a drill that is about how to finish, and just looking at body lean, in a mere 15, 20-yard sprint. It's not really a physical thing. It's more of a psychological tool that we do use just to see how guys look at that finish line. Are there guys that just want to be able to creep up to it, or are there guys that actually will sprint through that?
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to develop men to understand that maybe this idea in the future will help them in tough times, because we all go through those things. And so that's our theme for this year, is run through the finish line, run through the line.
Right. Well, that's poetic in your case too, right? I mean, it's a finish for everybody. Well, it's not a finish. And I'll get to that question of, well, actually, I'll just ask you right now, with the decision to step down as a head coach, what went into the decision to stay on staff?
Yeah, I think that I think if you look at the big picture, and if you go back to 1993, the man that I played for, Gene Sullivan, and the coach I played for, Gene Sullivan, was I had worked for him as a volunteer after I left WVU and with my MBA, and I was working in business, and I was giving back to the college as a volunteer coach. And I just so in 1993, coach got ill, and they asked me to at least apply for it, and he was on my staff for 5 years, and so was some other people that had been on the staff. So It created some continuity. It really did. And I'm saying that this is not the modus operandi for any other school in the nation or any other corporate plan. This is like absurd. I have so many people telling me you'll never do it, whatever. But I believe so strongly in the mission of what we do at Geneva that I can't imagine football without having my feet on a solid rock of school that stands Christian principles. I wouldn't trust myself.
Right.
So I would love to, and Carl, I'm trying not to think about that. Like I said, I got this thing on my shoulder, and I'm trying to get that thing off there. That's why I wanted the announcement so early before the season. I don't want to go through the season. I'm going to talk about Widener. I'm going to talk about Shenandoah. I want to talk about the Pac people we're playing. I don't want to be talking about, this change or whatever. It's not fair to these kids, these men that are coming, next week. It's just not fair to them, and it's not fair to the coaches around that table. And it's not fair to me. I mean, we're and that's the season. When you talk to football coaches, that being in season, man, is like going to another country.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's just might as well just say, you know what, I'll
see you in 10 weeks or longer.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's been a blessing. And however Geneva wants me to do it. However President Traup and, Van Zanek, our athletic director, however they see fit.
Now, Coach, I got to ask, why now? Why was this year the year that this was the route to go? I know that's not all of my questions, but you're giving me, they're popping in as we're going. So,
I think that's that's the one that's the tough question. Why now? And I think I came to a realization last year, and we finally I don't want to say got over the hump, but we're approaching that point where we might be able to move in to the upper echelon of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't enjoy it.
Really?
Winning to me is just a relief. And coaches will tell you that they despise losing more than they enjoy winning. And I don't know. I think it's time because of that. I just had a talk with our president. It's just years of doing it the way I'm made, and I just don't think that I could keep doing this without, whatever, fill in the blank.
You've led Geneva to 13 postseason appearances and 5 Victory Bowl titles. How do those accomplishments rank for you? Like, is it more important? Obviously, the amount of kids that have come through the program, graduated, and become fathers, husbands, career people, etc. Obviously, they weigh. But how much do the 13 appearances and the 5 Victory Bowls does that?
Well, I mean, you want to win. You want to win, and I mean that's the thing about coaching ball is if you meet a football coach that likes losing, he's not going to be a football coach for much longer. But it's the competition, it's the camaraderie, the teaching, the whole package of what it is, the job itself, recruiting, sitting down with kids when they make mistakes, game planning, the whole part of it. It's just I should just learn to enjoy the process. And people talk about that all the time. But I guess it was the way I was taught as a coach. You grind. And I'm hoping that maybe this year I can actually enjoy it.
Right. What role did the staff and the Geneva community play in sustaining your career for that long in Beaver Falls?
Oh, I think we've got an incredible community. Uh, we're located in Beaver Falls. Beaver County is such a special place. It's a place that not many people know about, but for me, it was the idea of trying to get as many local kids as we could, and that's what we did, and so we were part of the community big time, but the Geneva community has been so supportive. I have professors that I talk with on a daily basis. They're incredible people. There's incredible staff people at Geneva. Their heart is in the right place. They may not know much about football, but it doesn't matter to me. I mean, they're just absolutely genuine people. And you would think that would be a great thing, and it has been. But for me, I got to always find the hard way to do things, and I'm an expert at that. Just ask my wife.
Coach, you've coached and seen thousands of players come through those doors. How have they impacted you? How have the players impacted you throughout the years?
I learned so much from players. I do. I learned so much from the guys. I want to learn. I mean, I got to be a better coach come this year than I was last year. I got to be a better coach every day. And everybody talks about getting better. We need to get better, but truthfully, what it really is, Carlo, you have to be efficiently better. Like, you have to get better at a better rate than what your competitors are, because everybody's going to improve. And the process of improvement is something that for years that we've preached and we've done. And you see it in business and companies that like Toyota, and continuous improvement. Just how can we get better? It's how you win the game. Okay, fine. It was fine. It was great. But how can we even get better? How can we become more efficient? How can we do that? And to do that is it's really tough, because you've got to be authentic. You got to be real, and you've got to say, okay, we missed it here. All right, so now what are we going to do about it? So when you sit down with the players in film, it's not this thing of you're screaming at player because of film. Because if I see the same thing happening at the same position, then we got a problem with teaching, and then it's on us. And I have used this approach of this idea of running through film with people as this thing is it's an us thing. It's not like, okay, and I want to know, like quarterback, I want to know what you see. What are you looking at?
Right.
What's going through here? What's the process? I just feel like open and very, very difficult conversations and being brutally honest is the way to go about it. And to me, it helps build these young men into men. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell them when I screwed up. They may tell me when I screw up, and I'll look right them in the eye and say, yeah, I did. But it's all part of a process. And the one tough thing that I think I know I'm going to face this year is as long as there's another game to coach, we're going to be fine. And I'm going to get to the point where, yeah. So that's the whole idea. Like, as long as there's the next game to coach, and you got seniors and they're going out and they're like, Coach, I'm done with games. I said, yeah, but now, our whole thing has been about academically helping you, and to support you, get a great education here, spiritually, trying to talk with you about what you need in your life, just based on what the Bible says and what stuff that I've been through. And then athletically, It's like what we learn on the so it's really a three-pronged approach with these kids. So they may play their last game, but now they go into this thing called life, and now it's for real.
Right.
And so uh, I just felt like we could make Geneva College a very small place, something special, something, and that's what we've tried to do, and it's a passion. You've got so many guys that you talk with, coaches. I mean, the guys in our league. I mean, just the guys that you were just talking about. Those guys got so much passion about what they do. They really do.
Right.
And that's probably the thing I'll miss more than anything is interacting with those guys. I've been to conference. What do they call that thing?
The
Football chair.
The
The football
AFCA
chair.
or
Nah, I'm the football chair. I'm the guy that's supposed to because they give it to me because I'm the oldest guy there. Yeah, blah 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 blah. I love interacting with coaches. I do. I really do. I think maybe down the road I'll do something like that with guys. I just
hey, we get you set up. We'll switch seats. You do the interviews. I'll produce everything.
Oh, wait, we'll be nationwide. We'll be big time. ZZ Top, baby. We're nationwide.
Coach, I got a question about the technology that's coming down the pipe. Let's get you into some football talk. So last April, the committee met. We got two big rules. One of them, I think everybody was kind of waiting on. We needed to have it happen. It was the playoff expansion. And then there was this other rule. April to August, figure out how you're going to use 18 iPads or up to 18 iPads, what system you're going to use, if the conference is going to use it, if the coaches are going to use it. Where do you stand on this part of the technology? And do you think that this is going to lead to the communications and the other things that are kind of trickling down through?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're headed to that next year. I mean, the quarterback's going to have something. There'll be a dot on him, and there'll be a dot on somebody else on defense. I mean, that's going to happen next year.
Okay.
Not this coming year, but next year. Yeah, the whole tablet thing. I had a couple of guys on the staff last year that were coaching in high school, and they were a great help for me because they actually were able to look at it like during. But I will tell you, if you talk to a lot of our coaches, there were some technical hiccups that happened during games, right?
Right.
So it's not like what you see on Sunday with the quarterback sitting there every time going through this thing. It just wasn't that. It wasn't that easy or wasn't that smooth. I know that the people that we relied on and who sold us an idea of how effective it was going to be had no idea of
technology,
and they should because that's what they do for a living. But it's changing ball. I think the thing that's I'm a little worried about right now is somebody walked in and gave me a sheet from somebody at the University of Colorado, and they wanted to know if I wanted to scout my opponents with AI. And I'm thinking,
oh,
yeah, I don't. I mean, somebody's doing it. I'm just telling you right now, somebody's doing it. So you're talking about technology. This thing is kind of scaring me, and maybe this is why it's time for me to, jump off the train. There's so much happening in college football. There's so much happening in small colleges across the country as far as enrollment, as far as keeping schools open. I mean, there's so much happening in higher ed. We are getting bombarded, not only athletically, but we're getting bombarded in the fact that higher ed we're going to have to change our model. I don't know how it's sustainable. When you look at all the opportunities that people have right now, and fortunately at Geneva, we've got a couple things that are our niche, and it's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can see a structural change happening in higher ed soon. Like
Well,
within,
because we're officially now. I mean, I know since I graduated, the talk of the enrollment cliff's coming, the enrollment cliff's coming, the enrollment cliff's coming. We're now there, right? I mean, most of the people
yeah,
in higher ed, we're at the enrollment cliff. We're off the cliff almost.
yeah, and next year, and what I just heard 2 days ago is, I mean, we're going to see it so much in 26 and 27. And it's scaring a lot of people. I mean, not scaring a lot of people, but it's a cause for concern.
Right.
I mean, it really is. So I'll give you an idea of some things. I would never have recruited a young man before to come to Geneva for only 3 years. And I'll give you an example. We didn't have a nursing program up until 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it was called a 3-2 program. So I would never recruit a 3-2 kid. I would never want to have somebody that was just here and after their junior year tell them, all right, goodbye, see ya. You got to go somewhere else and get your nursing degree. Right. There's a lot of 3-2 engineering programs. We happen to have a 4-year nationally accredited program. But I'm telling you right now, at our place, in our business program, a student who's on the ball can come to Geneva and they can get their undergraduate degree in 3 years and then get their MBA in 4 years. And Carlo, like right now, just because of cost and because of the market, because of things are going on, like I'm okay if the kid only wants to come for 3 years, graduates, and goes on. Those are one of those things in the past that was like, oh my gosh, never, ever, But now, I mean, we got to have some creativity in what's going on and offer new delivery systems in higher education, because it's just not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think also with that comes, I'm a real big capitalist. So
right.
I don't complain about what everybody else has, what we got, whatever. It's just supply and demand. It's just the way it is. If I'm going to be a capitalist, then I got to believe in it, right?
Right.
I know that people say, well, everything's a level playing field. No, but it's America. It's capitalism. It is, and I'm just interested to see what the next main idea will be in delivering higher education.
Right.
What's it going to look like? What's the idea coming? Are we talking about trying to get people through in 3 years? Are we talking about everything? We have everything now. I mean, people can get a degree online. Are we talking about merging schools together? I don't know.
Do we start pushing kids to getting a job and enrolling online to these universities and colleges and having them work? And you know what I mean? You're going to work 9 to 5, and then at 5 o'clock when you get home, you'll have 3 classes that you got to sit through. I mean that.
No. Again, a shift in a paradigm shift, and I call it a structural change, just like the steel industry changed in Western Pennsylvania, in America, in the 70s and 80s. This is going to be, I mean, you're always going to have the elite schools, and some of them are Division III, but for most places, they are going to have to define a niche that is in creative ways, to be able to meet, I hate to use the word the customer of where they're at, like you said, and one of the things in higher ed that when you look at community colleges are very, very much adaptive to what's going on in the latest, if you will, need of what's going on in different industries, So it's and people are afraid. I think it's exciting time. I really do. I think it's an exciting time, but this thing that's going on right now in college football, do I believe players should be getting something? I do. I really do. I think they should be getting something.
Right.
Are they going to be, almost half, maybe 40% of the teams in D3 have some sort of collective. They do. And it's going to come to that. But you can't have a system without some boundaries, man.
Right. Guide rails, something.
Guide rails. You got to have a guide rail. You got to have some boundaries. I mean, you want to tell everybody's a free agent. No, I think it's going to be interesting. Really interesting.
Coach, I have two for you. So the PAC specifically was big news early in the year as a Division I, dropped down to Division III. Do you think that that's going to be, and I've asked this question to a couple of the other coaches we've had on, do you think that that's going to become a model for some of the smaller Division I or Division IIs? Are they going to look to move to that route?
Carlo, I really think so. I do. I talked with our guys. I mean, our conference coaches. I said, just, what's happening with St. Francis is, this is kind of like a harbinger of what's to come. You start looking at places across the country and they're either going to drop football or, all right, and stay with their Division I basketball program, or they're going to come to Division III, just because they're not going to be able to compete with the big dogs. I mean,
and do you think that starts? So obviously St. Francis started it, but do you think it becomes more predominant West Coast, where the number of Division III schools aren't as like you're a Utah, a Colorado, an Arizona, or does it start here on the East Coast where, I mean, it's already a saturated field of Division III schools when you go from Vermont all the way down to, I would say, Georgia, I think would be. I mean, you got a lot of schools on this coast.
You really do. There's, I tell people that where we are at Geneva College, we're smack dab. I mean, we're 8 miles from the Ohio line, but when you look at college football programs, and Pennsylvania has the most, Ohio is second. I mean, we're right smack dab in the middle of it. But as far as Division III, I don't know what the answer is. I do know that a lot of schools that were quote unquote basketball schools started football programs just sheerly for enrollment purposes. Are they going to be able to sustain if they're going to be in a division, FCS program with scholarships? Are they going to be able to compete? This thing with St. Francis is a really, I think, strategically in the long run for them. And I know this is going to sound crazy. Strategically for them in the long run, they're going to be fine. They've got a great, you get a great education there. They've got academic programs that people will want. They're going to be fine. It's just the tough thing of, are there going to be any more of the little guys trying to play ball with the big guys? And I don't know, Carlo. I really don't. I don't know. I think if we're honest about, FBS, and we look at the SEC and we look at the Big Ten,
that's it.
That's it. Okay.
I mean,
and it hurts because I started my education at Georgia Tech. They're in the ACC, and I got my MBA, and I coached at both places at West Virginia, and they're in the Big 12. And so what's this thing going to come down to? Is it going to come down to 64 schools that actually want to want to put big time money into it, and for the
Right.
most part, become the minor leagues of the NFL.
Which is where I mean, I
We're
don't,
there now.
I mean, call NIL what it is. And it was a little long over. I also share your opinion. It's a little long overdue but at this point, when you're talking to the Division I guys versus the NIL that you're seeing at Division II and Division III, I mean, you're a minor league system. Just call it. It's not amateur football anymore. You're a feeder system for the next level, and that's fine. We all understand what Alabama and LSU and Oklahoma and Penn State and Ohio State and Michigan, we know what they're going to put out there. I saw a thing going around this week about there's a million high school football players. There's 50,000 of them that go on to play college football when you look at it across the three divisions, plus the NAIA and the JUCO. Then you get down to how many of them are going Division I. I think it's like a 1.5, maybe 2.5. It's 6.5% of your high school athletes that are going to play college football. That number, 1,000 people get scouted, 600 get invited to the combine. You draft some. I mean, the numbers just aren't there. It's
In the NFL, I was just looking at last night. I was looking at Steelers media guide, and the media guide they have is incredible. And I just went through and looked at how many employees they have.
Mm-hmm.
Not just coaches. I'm talking employees from a sports business standpoint. I mean, we are talking about these NFL teams are corporations. I mean, this is big money.
Oh, yeah.
The NFL is hitting home runs all over the place. I mean, the idea of starting flag football for girls and for young women is a great idea. They can get a chance to enjoy the sport without risking injury. Like I'm still old school. I don't think young. And I have 4 daughters. I would never let them play. But just those marketing ideas and the saturation, it just seems like in America we can't get enough of the NFL and we can't get enough of college football.
Right.
And Carl, we're even seeing it in Division III, like
the paywall.
Well, yeah. What is that?
Huh? Oh, my blood pressure go. I'm you know me, coach. I'm a Saturday guy. I got 3 TVs going with 4 different games on them. Now it's I don't know what I'm already a subscriber to the account that I need to be because I saw this last year. And it's interesting. Coach Commissioner Underko was on Around the Nation today, actually, Wednesday of this week when we're recording this. I was listening to it, and he said, with the PAC Sports Network and the way that the PAC has done things to keep, it would take a very drastic thing to put the PAC schools behind a paywall. That being said, Pat Coleman went on and said, these schools are only getting $30,000 a year to have this paywall. That's one kid's tuition. I mean, they're not getting 7 figures here. They're getting a tuition pay, a couple water bottles, couple footballs, couple sleds, and that money's gone. So I don't know. The flow sports thing drives me. I have to look into it a little bit more before I give my full opinion on it.
I mean, I think the first thing is there's an assumption that you have a product that's in great demand. Like if you start with an assumption and you don't know,
mm-hmm.
and you don't have the analytics on it, and you haven't done your homework on determining that, it's probably best if we didn't charge people to look at our games online. I mean, or it might be to the point where, hey, we think we're a big deal, and we're going to find out. But I love what you just said. Yeah, we're not talking about a windfall here that's going to help build a new dorm.
No.
No, we're not doing that. No, it's just this I don't know. I'm really interested on seeing how the NIL thing is going to work in D3.
Mhm.
Like that's something that I'll probably enjoy because you know it's coming and it'll happen. And,
Right.
but it's capitalism.
Now, Coach, the other side, and you talked about it when we were. It popped into my head when we were talking about the enrollment cliff and whatnot. How much are you looking at the transfer portal? And let me hold on. When you look at the transfer portal, if you're looking at somebody or you're looking at it, there's maybe a handful of guys that we may be interested in. Are they Geneva guys that went off to a Cal U, a Slippery Rock, Penn State, Maine, or Penn State, Altoona, and they realized, I don't really want to be here. I want to go home and get a good education where I can play football and be part of something? Are those the guys that we're looking for when you look into the portal, or are you looking into the portal at all?
I mean, we do. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we do just because there's so many kids that decide they want to go into the portal. Now, I want to tell you this. I find it interesting that some of the young men that go in the portal aren't even starters. So they would rather go into the portal to make it look like they're in the portal because they finished. They're playing behind a guy who's really good, or they're just. And I see this in D3 all the time. You know, I've had kids that have gone into the portal that, yeah. But I've also had guys that I tell you what, we've lost a ton of starters in the last 3-4 years. You know, and the kids are getting D2 scholarships, and they're getting. So what do you do? I mean,
Right.
you
I mean,
say
it goes
God
back to your
bless you.
cost thing.
It does. It goes back. Hey, I can't sit there and cry about it because I transferred myself,
Right.
you know, and we built our program on transfers in the beginning, you know, and we still, I think when you're dealing with transfers, there's got to have to be some sort of hook. There's got to be a hook there. There's got to be a hook that either you recruited a young man or he wants a program that we have, like in engineering or this business program as 3+1. You know, it's got to be something that is more than just, hey, this kid looks like, you know, he's out at, you know, East West Northern State, and we want him to come to Beaver Falls.
Right.
But Carla, what am I going to give him? You know, that's the other thing. Okay, the other thing is you can really see the guys who are serious about winning on how they're going about, you know, packaging transfers.
Right.
You know, and every school has its own idea, and you know, and I go back to that. But for us, you know, we've got we've got 3 transfers that are quarterback. One kid we recruited, and he's our starter last year, and he went to another program, and he came back to us. He was the second quarterback at where he was going, and somehow he ended up back with us. I got a couple more coming in that, you know, played receiver at a D2 school and want to go back to playing quarterback. You know, but it's just interesting. I mean, we're not at a point where, you know, we're going to rebuild our roster,
right,
based on transfers. Most of the transfers we had in the NAIA days was just because Western Pennsylvania at that time had so much talent going to Division I, and these kids would come home, whatever, and we'd be there. Yeah, come on, we'll take you, absolutely. And they graduated and they've lived great lives.
Now, Coach, I got to ask you: do you think that in the next couple of years we might see one or two more Jeters come through Geneva, or have they all finally finished up out there in Beaver Falls and Beaver and Aliquippa and all the
Yeah,
I feel like there was a Jeter somewhere every year for most
yeah,
of my life almost.
It's like we have these towns where you see these names and they're just like in Aliquippa and in Rochester. You see their, and the first question you said are like, well, who's his dad? All right. And yeah, who's his dad? I mean, I got to tell you that for the first time this year, I'm actually recruiting somebody whose grandpa played for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to go into any more of that. Let's just leave that. When I called my wife Cheryl, I said, Cheryl, you're never going to believe us. I said, yeah. So anyway, but it's amazing, these small towns. But the same thing happens over in Ohio. I mean, these guys, they they love the game of football. They love the small town atmosphere, and their kids are good players.
Heck yeah. Especially two of those schools that you named. They have a very well, Aliquippa. Anybody that doesn't know about Aliquippa, just type Aliquippa football into YouTube. You'll figure it out real fast. Rochester also. Type in Rochester football into Rochester, PA, and watch for about 5 minutes. You'll figure out real quick why we're talking about them. Coach, we've kind of, when we first started with you 2 years ago, we were trying to get to know the coaches. We were trying to get everybody out there. Now we've honed in a little bit on some of these questions for coaches that are assistants, D coordinators, et cetera, that are looking to make that jump. What advice would you give to the younger guys that are looking for that next step?
I'm going to give the advice that was given to me by Coach Nealon when I was a GA, and then when I coached the nose guards at West Virginia in 1985 and 86. He would tell our guys, he would say, listen, if you're looking for your next job, you'll probably lose the one that you have right now.
I like that.
And so it's kind of this thing of wherever you're planted, wherever you're at. I mean, work. I've been blessed with so many great young coaches that have come in as GAs or volunteers or whatever, and they just have impressed me. They really have. And you do anything for those guys because that's the profession, that's the fraternity that we're in. I would say, go somewhere where it's credible. You know what I mean? People, let's not kid ourselves. There's reputations that exist, and I'm not dogging anybody that quote unquote has had a bad coach here or there. But I obviously this is self-serving because we're talking about continuity. But for young coaches, I think the thing is you get an opportunity to coach on the other side of the ball. All right, and your whole life you've been on offense. You need to go on defense 1 year. You need to go do that.
Right.
That to me opens everything up. And so I purposely would put guys, that played and put them on the other side of the ball just because they would bring a different aspect of analyzing an offense, and they would teach me based on the fact that they were offensive players.
And then for those guys that are seniors this year that are thinking about when the whistles or when the pads come off, but they want to stay around the game, what would your advice be to them that are looking to get into coaching? Oh, I gotta hold back my chuckle because sometimes I ask you questions and I'm not ready for it. So.
Oh, okay. I would tell them they, find a place. If you want to get a graduate degree, go find it. If you don't know what you want yet, and if you can go a place and get an MBA, I mean, my gosh.
Right.
I was just blessed to be able to get an MBA while coaching college football. It's just unheard of. Any opportunity you can and to learn, and God, I just think we could be doing more as coaches. I feel like us older guys who have been in this thing a while, we could be doing a lot more for these younger guys, to try to get into the profession, to try to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
understand it. And I'm seeing it. I'm seeing so many bright young minds come through. I'm looking at the staff that Rich put together at West Virginia, and Rich has done an amazing job of keeping guys with experience and having some new guys. I hope Rich does so well there. He's a friend of mine, and we coach together. I really like to see that. He's, you put a staff together, and you got to have a little bit of both. You got to have a
Right.
little bit of guys that are, old school, and you got to have some guys that understand. And there's a balance. And I would say this to head coaches: hire people that can do some things better than what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no use. Why are you hiring this guy? Well, because I'm hiring this guy because you know, he's got a great presence in recruiting, online or whatever. I mean, yeah,
Yeah. Makes sense.
makes sense. But today it's all about recruitment. It's all about. I just find it interesting, Carlo. If you look and you look at these media guides, and you get the blurb on, all the coaches now, it's who they coached or who they recruited, and back in the old days, I was taught that the coaches made the players, made the player, but now I'm reading about how the players are making the coaches.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So I love having young guys on the staff, man. They're just hungry, and I try we place our guys wherever we can, try to pick up the phone and help them get placed. And we do it amongst coaches like in the league.
Right.
It's interesting. I'll call Mike or I'll call Scott and say, hey, I got a guy, we got a guy here, there, whatever. And yeah, those guys get it. They really do. We're blessed. Man, we got some really good football coaches in this Pac conference. We really
you
do.
do.
And yeah, and I mean, Andrew, what he's doing at Grove City, and you got a guy at Case Western that is just, Debs is just he's amazing. These guys could be coaching at any level they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
They could. And I'm glad that I get to hang around with them for another year, huh?
Now, speaking of the 2025 season and you getting to hang around these guys, let's talk about September 6th real quick. Talk to me about it. How you feeling going to Widener? What are you expecting from that game? And well, first, let me ask this before we get there. How excited are you to get the guys back on campus and get the footballs being thrown around, get the pads popping?
I want them all. I mean, I got to get them on campus. I mean, that's the big relief, because everybody like a D3 says, well, you don't know who you're going to have until they show up. Well, yeah, you do. You got kind of an idea, but I'm just like, I just don't want to. I don't want to get that call, right before the wedding starts and says, hey, I'm not in. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, no, I don't want that. I don't want those calls. Like, I don't want somebody running away. I'm not walking down that aisle by myself.
I hear you.
Yeah. Once we get them on campus and we just start developing the culture, I just we do a lot of things like with mentoring and trying to get the older guys to help the younger guys, but and once in a while, we got a couple of guys that sometimes think that they don't have to do that, and well, yeah. And I say, well, somebody did it for you, right? Yeah. Well, but this coming year, I mean, we're playing some new teams. I just I do this all the time. If you look at our out of conference games on who we've played, I've got to be the worst scheduler as far as picking teams and being able to to get, it just,
Right.
it goes back all the way back to the 90s. I mean, I kept us out of the playoffs one year in the NAI because I scheduled Carson Newman, who won the national championship in D2. And I was stupid. Yeah. And I'm still stupid. I mean, Widener's got such a great football tradition, incredible football tradition. I mean, what Coach Manlove did there, and I really like the guy they've got now.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I really do. We talked, and we just kibitz on some different things, and they've got such an incredible recruiting area, and they're going after kids that are pursuing law degrees and business degrees, and it's an outstanding institution. It really is, and we got to go there,
Right.
So I've never been there, so I had to go find out for myself. I had to go see where everything was, because one thing you can never do as a head coach, you can never get lost.
Nope.
On the bus. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. It's like the last thing players want to hear is from the head coaches, we have no idea where we're at.
We think we passed it. We're not sure. We're going to turn around. We're going to go.
Yeah, that's just not good leadership. Yeah. Well, I thought you had the directions. Yeah, I thought you had the directions. We're lost. We're playing a team. And we exchanged film. They got an aggressive defense. They're just solid players. Like we have got to go there, and we've got we don't have the luxury to play bad and still expect to win. Like Geneva football, yeah, we have to play well to win. Like we can't play bad and then come out with a victory. Like that's just not where we're at. Back in the day, we could play bad, but, so that's kind of cool. And then I scheduled Shenandoah, and man, are they starting to get good?
Yes.
Yeah, they're getting good. Yeah,
and
so I got these two schools, like that. But I was talking to Andrew DiDonato the other day, and he was telling me who they got the first 3-4 weeks. Huh? Yeah. Like.
Nope. Saw that schedule come out and went, whoa, wow.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to see, how we compete as Pac schools against some of these people. And I just saw where I think one of our people are playing John Carroll. I mean, yeah, that's a good one, huh?
Yeah. So, Coach, we're gonna hit you with the Fast Five real quick. I got 5 questions for you.
Yeah.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
If I could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? I can't give you my address.
You don't have to. Beaver Falls will work.
No, I don't even live in Beaver Falls. I kind of like where I'm at.
All right.
Really
Nothing
do.
wrong with that.
Where I'm at. Yeah.
Well, you said you should be where you are. Don't be worried about.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
What's the most important lesson that you've learned over your career?
Oh man, it's not about me. Yeah.
Right. It's about we.
It's a daily lesson. It's not about me.
If you weren't coaching, what would you be doing?
I kind of, based on what I got going on right now, Carlo, I think I'd run. I think I'd have a barbershop.
I thought you were going to tell me you were going to go into marketing for Division III football, but all right. Well, all right. Coach, what's the best compliment you've ever received?
Question: have you ever been in a barbershop where a bald guy comes in and just gets his head buffed?
Uh-huh.
Are you kidding me?
down in Carnegie, right,
Yeah.
right by old Carlington High Schools, where the old stadium is. There's a CVS, and there at the other end of their plaza is Viola's barbershop. And my grandfather took me there once a week, every week, from the time I was maybe 7 till I was like 15. And there was a man, they called him Mush, and that's what he would come in. And so the Violas were twin brothers that cut hair, and it was their dad's shop, and their dad would only come in to buff Mush's head because Mush wouldn't let anybody else touch him. Now, 85 years old, here comes Mr. Viola with his walker, and he goes in and he does everything, and he looks at my pap and he looks at the boys and he goes, somebody's got to learn how to do this. I'm done coming down here. Next week, here he comes right back in, and it's the same. It was the same story. So I have seen the bald buffing.
I mean, every question you're going to ask me, it's going to be outrageous. You're going to get an outrageous answer.
What's the best insult you've ever received?
The best insult? I just saw something online, and it was pretty good, man. I got it pretty good from somebody. Yeah, I don't want to get into it.
All right. Well, let's go positive. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
The best insult was this. Here's the best insult.
Okay.
I think we got a position in the business faculty at Geneva. We got a position open for our entrepreneurial program, and somebody said, "Hey, Geno, why don't you end up teaching in the entrepreneurial program?" And my wife absolutely busted out laughing and said, "That guy, he doesn't know how to make money any which way." Because that would be that's a joke. Yeah, honest to goodness. I mean, I could find entrepreneurs, but I don't have that. That's one ability I do not have. No, I'm a horrible. I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
I really don't. Yeah, the best compliment. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I guess the thing, one of the best compliments, I think, it's like, well, some of my older players will call me Geno. That's kind of cool. I like that. You know.
So you prefer that, or do you prefer it, or do you still want to be coach?
Nah. I mean, my gosh, they're 55 years old. They're 55 years old. Yeah,
and I bet you they'd still strap them on and run through a wall for you, though.
Yeah, and some of them could still play. Yeah, a few of them.
Now, Coach, before I ask the last question, there's two questions.
So is this the last question, or is this the question before the last question?
This is two questions before the last one.
Okay,
I get ahead of myself. What is the piece of advice for the next head coach at Geneva?
Oh, don't be stubborn like the other guy. Don't be stubborn like the old guy.
Don't take scheduling advice from coach.
Don't take scheduling advice. Obviously, hairstyling. And I could give you a plethora of things. Yeah. Try to talk in complete sentences.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. I've got this grunt thing going on now that you're talking half sentences, and I expect people to read my mind.
My fiance just complained earlier this week. I apparently have the same thing. I say something and I don't finish the sentence, but I think I finished the sentence. She goes, "Well, I can't read your mind. So you got a complete sentence would be nice."
I mean, if they really do truly love us and know us, I mean, they should know what we're trying to think of. Like, it's just, yeah. I think the next guy is going to have to, number one, he's going to have to have a different hairstyle. I really believe that. Number one. Number two, he's going to have to speak in complete sentences. Number three, he's going to have to learn how to deal with all this technology stuff. And number four, I want the next guy to enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Right.
would be the 4 things. I want the next guy to enjoy the process. I look back at this and think, wow, my gosh, game day. I mean, you would think that ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm going to get real serious here, Carlo. Like, I didn't realize how ridiculous my anxiety on game day was until my daughters started having kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you sit there and you're waiting, you're waiting for one of your daughters to have a child, and you're praying that everything's fine. And you go through that, and I got to go through that 2 times this coming fall again.
Congratulations.
And you just, thanks. Thank you. And I just, at times like that, I said, I will never, ever, ever treat a football game like it's a matter of, life and death or whatever.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
So
I think
I want the next guy to enjoy it.
And then what for you is the significance of Division III?
The significance of Division III. Wow. That's a tough one for me. Because Division III to me represents the ability for any school to do whatever they seem is right for them,
Mm-hmm.
in conducting their athletic program. So in a sense, notice I did not say it's it's a place where everything's on a even playing
Right.
field. But I know people complain because you got state schools in Wisconsin, and you got schools that have, endowments that are in the 4, 5, 6 billion mark. But I don't know. I kind of enjoyed. I kind of look at our league, and I say, hey, man, we've got a diverse group of colleges that all have something, something worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really do. But I think Division III is just, again, it goes back to the whole idea of learning. If you're a Division III football coach, you've got to learn. You got to have the ability that you're going to continue to learn, continue to improve. And I want to get better this year as a coach. I want the last game I coached to be the best game I've ever coached. So that's about it, man.
Coach, I think that's a great. I have one more question, but I don't even want to ask it.
What was
I
it?
think that's.
When did I lose my eyebrows?
No, I was going to say, was there a question you were expecting, and how would you have answered it? But I really like the ending of that one. But go ahead. Was there something you were expecting me to ask you today? And if so, how would you have answered it?
No, it's probably something to the tune of like, how have you dealt with the last couple of years? How have you dealt with the lack of success, quote unquote, not winning? And we last year, like I said, we got back on track, but it's been a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
The kids have been incredible. The process has been tremendous. I think I have learned more in the last half of my football coaching career from dealing with adversity and fighting through, and the whole perseverance thing, and all the stuff that as coaches we tell our players to do. And then I realized that now I have to live what I've been preaching.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of has taught me, and really, again, put my feet on a solid rock of who Christ is, because without him, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Well, Coach, I want to say thank you very much. First and foremost, thank you.
Yeah, I just wish there could be another time, but we're not going to be able to do this again. This is this is one and done, man.
I'm surprised if your inbox gets. We'll get you. Let's get through this season, and we'll see.
Let's get through this season, right? Yeah.
And then
we'll have a series of things we can talk about. You know what we need to do is we need to come up with topics that nobody wants to discuss. and I'll be the guy that, because after this year,
who's going to say anything?
Who's going to say anything?
Coach, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you coming back. I'm really excited to watch this year.
Appreciate you.
September 6th is going to be here very quickly. And for those of you that are watching at home, this next segment, it pains me to say, but we're going to overtime and I have to eat crow because my fiance beat the brakes off of me in picking games last year. And this is her first opportunity to, oh yeah, Coach, it was ugly. It got to the point that by week 6, she looked at me and another former D3 football player and said, you guys do this. You pay attention to the games. How come you're so far behind? And by week 7, we were so far behind that it didn't matter anymore. We were just picking games to hope. So I'm sure that I'm going to eat a lot of humble pie. That's
really tough.
Yeah.
Most of the times the wives will pick games where the teams have the nicest uniforms.
She picked based on, I like that name. I liked because she edits these shows. I liked that coach. I liked when he was talking. Yeah. I like this. I like that. Or, well, you picked that team and I don't want to go with you. So I'm going to pick this team. Sometimes I look at that and I go, all right. Good. I know. I kind of predictive on these. It did not work last year. She I don't know what deal she made, who she made the deal with, but the numbers weren't great in our favor. But she's always right. Remember that. Remember this. She's always right. Always. And when she's right on Monday, she's right on Tuesday, and I'm wrong on Wednesday. I know it. I live it.
There you got you got the recipe for success, brother.
We'll be right back,
thing, man. Thank you so much.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? Welcome back. Want to say thank you very much to Coach DeMarco for talking to us about his 32 years and talking about what he's feeling here going into year 33 and the final one. I want to say a special thank you to all the coaches that sent us messages, just letting Coach DeMarco know throughout the PAC, and then one former PAC member, just letting him know what he meant to them. And before we jump into that, welcome to overtime. Congratulations. You beat the shit out of me and DB last year, so there's your roses. It's all right here.
Thank you.
There's enough paperwork here.
Not only did I win, I whooped you.
Yeah, both of us. And that leads into week 0 and our games this week. So obviously, as we did last year, we're going to have a guest of the week game and then the game of the week. So we're going to get into that. 10 games like always. DB, Serenity, and I picked. And for anybody out there that wants to join in, you're more than welcome. But guest of the week, Geneva, obviously. Geneva versus Widener. I picked Geneva. DB and Serenity both picked Widener. Then we go Mount Union versus Wheaton. All of us picked Mount. Greenville and Illinois College. All of us picked Illinois College. Springfield and Western New England. All of us picked Springfield. We go out to the West Coast. Pacific Lutheran versus Cal Lutheran. We all picked Pacific Lutheran. Then heading south, Huntington versus Barry at Barry. All of us took Barry. Although this has a potential game. This could be a little sneaky. Huntington, very good football team led by Coach Turk. But we all took Barry. And then here's where you're going to see the discrepancies in the next 2 out of the next 4 games. Lion versus ETBU. Lion, former Coach Douglas, former guest of the show this season specifically. You took Lion.
Yes, I did.
DB and I took ETBU. Any reason behind the Lion pick?
Well, I originally picked ETBU, and then something told me to switch, so I did.
You know what? I can't argue with the something told you, because something really worked last year. So
yeah.
Then we go Johns Hopkins Ithaca. This is another game. A lot of people, when you look at Johns Hopkins' schedule, you need a win here to then kind of run the table. This is a team that a lot of people expect are going to be in the Final Four, could even make a finals run. All of us took Johns Hopkins. Then you have Grove City and Cortland. And I said this earlier on Voices, which if you haven't yet, check out Voices in the Stands. But I said it earlier when we were talking about this game specifically. Grove City comes in. It's 2 years removed from losing by 1 point to the team that ends up going on and winning a national title. Cortland, brand new quarterback, brand new head coach. We've been to Cortland for what the atmosphere is like. I'm hard pressed to find one that's better right now in Division III. I mean, we've only been to Mount Union and Cortland. But you took Cortland.
We did.
New York. And then DB and I, being former PAC players, I guess, decided to stay true. And DB wants to make it known that he is now on the Grove City train. For 2 years, he was waiting. He really feels that this Grove City
last year,
team
didn't he pick
against them almost every time.
Every single time.
Yes, he wanted that to be known that he's with them. And then what I think a lot of people are thinking is the game of the week nationally. River Falls, Alma. It's a rematch. It's round 2 of these two opening the season with each other. It's round 2 between Caleb Blaha and Carter St. John, arguably the 2 best quarterbacks in the country. All 3 of us took River Falls, as this is a home game for River Falls. This game's going to be a back and forth kind of slugfest contest. So that's how we picked. So just so we'll go back through it, I have Geneva. She and DB have Widener. Then we all have the same picks: Mount Union, Illinois College, Springfield, Pacific Lutheran, Huntington.
Nope, Barry.
Good call. Reading. Make sure you read before you talk. Then we separate. She has ETBU, DB and I, or she has Lion, DB and I have ETBU. Then we all have Johns Hopkins. We all have River Falls as our game of the week. And then the split is DB and I took Grove City. Serenity took Cortland. I want to say thank you to everybody that has tuned in to the roundtables, that has checked out Voices in the Stands, which is a new project that we're kind of tinkering and toying with and throwing out, trying to throw the best content out there that we can. And I want to say welcome back. It's been a long couple months without having a segment.
We'll see if last year was a fluke.
Well, and they're probably going to catch this a lot, since all of these episodes that we're about to run were pre-recorded. I was not sure what the first episode was, so every one of them, the coaches get to find out that Serenity really just mopped the floor with us. Because I was not sure, so I had to make sure that the ending was good. So they're all week 0 endings. But we have some great coaches.
I just get my roses over and over again.
We have some great coaches coming up. We've had some great coaches on this season. As I said, make sure if you haven't yet, check out the From the Sidelines, the D3 Coaches Roundtable. It was a great time. I'm hoping to do it again next year. And other than that, I mean, I don't want to bore you guys. I don't want to drag it out any longer than it is. I know Coach and I talked for a very good minute. So we'll catch you next week, Chuckleheads.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Dingo Talk. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. For more info and to contact the show, you can find us on Twitter @DingoTalk.